Welcome to CC Fashion. In this video, you're going to learn how to properly fix a welt pocket on the back part of a man's trousers. If this is what you're interested in, please kindly hit on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell as we move into the video. Here is how it's going to look like at the end of it. It looks so professional and wow, this is amazing. Please, let's move into the steps. First of all, you need the back panel of your trousers. I have already marked out my dart and sewed it on the back panel of the trousers. Now look at this dart. If you have not seen how I made it, visit my videos and you'll see it. I will leave the link in the description box. So after marking the dart, all you need to do is to go ahead and mark the portions that you're going to attach this welt pocket. So in welt pocket, we need a flap, we need some pieces like the strip of about 7 inches by 3 inches, and we need the lining fabric, what you're going to use in making the pocket. Just as you can see here with me is about 20 inches. 18 inches can still do, but 20 inches to be on the safe side, depending on the length of your pocket, which the normal pocket will be 5 inches. And you need an interface just like the one that you are seeing here. I have 6 inches interface that I'm going to paste on these pieces that I have. So you need to cut it out 6 pieces by either 3.5 or 4 inches depending on what you want. So those are the pieces that you need. And you also need another interface just like the one that you're going to attach to the main part of the trousers. That's the main part of the trousers, the back panel to be precise. So after that, this is what I have here 7 inches by 1.5. You may choose to take something longer. Afterwards you trim it off if you are just a learner here. So what you need to do is you locate the waist part of your trousers. That's the side waist of it, because that is where you're going to start to mark the darts. So just locate the side part of it and mark from there 3 inches down. Then from that 3 inches point, you go ahead and mark another 3 inches to form a straight line. Then mark 1.5 inches. As you can see, this 1.5 inches is where you are going to start to attach your interface. Here I'm using a gum stay. I don't know how you call it there, but we call it a gum stay. It is a paper interface, a fusible one. So all that you're going to do is going to take place at the back part of the trousers. Remember, the wrong side is where you are going to attach this paper stay. That is the gum stay. So I have attached it with a steam iron. Then I'm going to mark where the lines of the pocket will pass through. That will be 3.5 inches down. Remember, when holding a dart, it's usually 3.5 inches. So this precisely is going to be 3.5 inches down. Then draw your line as you have seen me doing. Then go ahead and mark 2 inches, just as you can see. Mark 2 inches from the side part of your trousers. Then form a box of 1/2 inch. You know, we are just doing this for beginners. There are other methods that you can use in making it simple, but this is the simplest method ever. So especially for beginners, those who are just coming up newly. Subsequently, I may upload another method. So from that point, you just mark the width of the pocket, which is usually 5.5 inches for adults. So this now form a square of 5.5 inches by 0.5 inches. Then at the center of it, just mark a straight line. That is half of an inch. I hope you understand. Call it a quarter of an inch. Then go ahead and mark this out, dividing the pocket into 2. Then as about 1/2 inch away from the edge, don't mark it to the edge, you just form a V panel, just form a V shape, just as you can see. There's no big deal about this. This is just a matter of trying to make sure that you have a corner there. So thereafter, I have my two panels. I'm just going to make one use of one of this because I'm making one pocket there. So just go ahead and align it right side facing each other, and make sure that when you are aligning it, it is probably the same point at where you have your markings. Then go ahead and stitch it and open it up. As you can see, I have stitched it round the corner, then I am opening it up precisely. So this is just, I'm just going to make it fast so that the video will not become too long. So I'm just opening up the corners just as the markings were. Remember, you have to stitch it down before you open up the corners. Then turn it inside out, and this is what you have. Go ahead and use your iron and make sure that you flatten everything. Then if you want to form a single part, then you just fold the down part of it, and to make sure that it covers the hole that is there. This is the back part of it. I have ironed it flat after turning it inside out. So let me just show you how you form the two-piece, because this is the two-piece I'm going to use. Two-piece cover. Hold down the half part of the upper part of the little pieces that you have attached to the trousers. Go ahead and iron it down. Just make sure that part of it, half of it, is what is showing up. Just fold it up like that and iron it down. And you can see I have half of it. I'm not pushing it to close up the pocket precisely. The upper part of it is what I'm folding. Then the lower part of it will complete the half that's remaining. So as you can see, I'm not covering up the pocket totally. What I'm doing is just to cover part of the pocket with the upper one. Then I'll go ahead and use part of it, that's the lower part of it, to cover the pocket precisely. This is when the pockets will be fully covered when I am folding it. I hope you understand the steps. If you don't understand, just watch it again. Once you watch it again, you understand the procedures that you see. Or better still, do as I do. Okay, so I'm now folding the lower part of it, and you can see how it's closing up the opening that was left after turning the cloth over. So I'm ironing it. As I iron it, it properly covers the hole. Remember that there was a hole left after the first ironing. Now I have used the pocket, the flap that's there, to cover the holes that were left. I hope I'm making sense, thereby forming two pieces of the overlap, the pocket cover, so to speak. So the next step that you're going to take is just to stitch it down. Remember, if you just fold it like that and leave it, it will not give you what you want. Now you have to raise up part of it, just as you can see, the other part of it, and stitch it down and raise up the second part. You see that small notch, something that looks like a notch there? That's where you're going to stitch it down. Just keep it on the machine and stitch it the way that you see. And afterward, raise up the down part of it, just as you can see, and stitch it down closely. So after stitching it down, this is what I have, and it's already coming out very beautiful. It covers up properly. Please take note of this. If it doesn't cover up properly, make sure that you go back and arrange it well, iron it well, and make sure that it covers properly, so that it will bring out the neatness of the clothes after you finish fixing the welt pocket. So we are finished with this particular step. It's always logical though. Now is the time to attach the lining fabric of it. Remember, always make good use of mature fabric, like the lining fabric should be a mature one. Now watch how I'm going to put this in a professional way. It's not just as usual. What you're going to do is going to cover up the entire back pocket of this. So just what you need to do is just to put the fabric right side facing each other under that place that you have stitched, the last stitches that you made. Just put this fabric like that. As you can see, I'm now inserting it under the flap, and I make sure that it covers the piece that I have sewn. On the opposite side of it, the upper part of it that I'm showing you now, you will see a thread running through it. That particular thread that you sew is there. This is just a black fabric. There is no contrasting thread there. So what you do is just to stitch it down so that it will hold down the one under. Stitch it on that thread that you have seen precisely. Now that is what I'm doing right away. I'm stitching it directly on the thread, then it will hold down that lining fabric that you have inserted under. I hope I'm making sense. Then when you have finished stitching it, just bring it up and open it. That's what I'm trying to explain. Look at it there. It has really hold down the lining fabric. Then you open it up this way. After opening it up this way, you will notice that it is now on the wrong side of the lining fabric. Then you go ahead and fold the rough edges. Just fold in the fray edges and push it into the machine. Flatten it well. Anything that you want to sew, make sure that it lays flat, because if it not lay flat, if it doesn't lay flat, there is an issue. It's going to pop up, it's going to bulge somewhere, and your work will not be neat. So everything should be laid flat while stitching it. So that's what I'm doing right away. When it comes to professional work, it really requires time and patience. That's why some people do charge very well. When it comes to sewing professionally, they charge very well because they will not rush over your work. They're going to take their time to make sure that everything is neat and is in place. That is the key, and that is the motto. It is either neat or neat. So don't stop stitching on that particular part while carefully pushing in all the excess. This is what we have here. You can see what it looks like, and if you check under, everything is buried inside, aside from the gum stay that will with time be pulled off. So it looks so neat both inside and outside. This is a professional tip that I'm showing you right now. So the next thing is to check your pocket depth. So I'm basically placing my tape on the opening that we have, extending the tape down. Just watch out, check out the opening that we have created an opening. So from that opening downward to about 5 inches or 6 inches, depending on what you want. If you really want it to be deeper, you can use 6 inches, but don't use more than 6 inches. Some people who are just like guys, they don't like it too deep, so you may go for 5 inches from that opening. So after marking it, just as you can see, go ahead and fold it. At this point, some people miss it. Some fold it inside and turn it inside out, but well, it's still nice, but this one is pro level. You don't need to fold it inside and do all sort of things. All you need to do is just to iron it out, just as you can see. The reasoning for ironing it is just to know where your pocket will be, how it's going to form. Then after that, go ahead and mark the shape of your pocket the way you want it to be. After creating the shape, we're just going to stitch it around like that, and you just go ahead and notch the lower part of it. Put a notch on the lower part of it so that you know that that's the end of the pocket. At this point, I am notching the where the pocket will be the two corners of the pocket, the lower part of it. I'm just placing a notch so that if it shifts eventually, I'll know where I had it right there. So let's go ahead and do that. But before then, don't forget that you're going to put this you're going to use a pocket cover to cover the back part of it. Now when you are sewing, remember that at this point, when it gets to the opening, it will really show the inside of the pocket. So you need to face it. If you are using a different material, just face it. As you can see, now I've marked where the opening is, and I'm probably putting my facing in between the opening. Remember, in between the opening, so that if eventually you want to remove something from the pocket, the lining fabric will not show. Instead, use the same material that you use in making your trousers to cover up that point. That will be approximately 10 inches from the opening. So after attaching it, this is what I have, and you just go ahead and continue the sewing from where you stop. Just go ahead and continue the sewing from that point. Remember, I have already notched it down, so I'm basically going to continue from where I stopped. I really didn't want to make this important point so that you will not be stranded. So at this point, look at how it's looking like. It's already promising that it's going to cover up that part of the pocket. So just go ahead and fold it up, turn your trousers upside down, just as you can see. Place it well and stitch from that end. Then you get to that corner, turn it over, continue your stitches. You may likely start from that other side and stitch round to the second part of it. So after stitching, this is what I have. You can see the shape coming out already. Then the next thing is to just go ahead and trim off that excess that you have. You need to take time, trim it off. At first I have a lot of excess at the upper part of it. Please, if you are trimming up the upper part of it, do not trim it too low. Do not make it exactly at this point. Just trim it in such a way that you will later trim the remaining one, so that you may not fall a victim. To be on the safe side, mind how you trim. Then I've trimmed up this other part. This part that I'm trimming up, if you look closely, you'll see the thread that I sew already, in which it is where I am trimming. I'm just trimming close to the thread, and the shape that is coming out is where I trim. Then at the upper part of it, I really want to bring out a good shape. Remember, everything that looks nice must be professionally done. So that's the shape I want to achieve, and I'm taking my time to do this because I love my clients and I want to give them the best. Okay, one more step before we complete the pocket with bias. Now, as you can see, the whole pocket is sewn, but the upper part of it is not attached yet. So all you need to do is just to turn the cloth upside down. Make sure that you arrange it properly. Everything should be on point at this moment. And you're just simply going to raise up the waist part of it, as you can see, and close the upper part of it with the stitches. You're just going to sew and make sure you pick the small detail of it on it. When you finish sewing, you are done with it. And as you stitch on it, the next thing is to attach a trousers bias. So that's the last step that you're going to take in this. So this is my trouser bias. I have a cotton one, so just go ahead and pick it up, finish up the edges. Some people may think, oh, why waste such time to make all this? People really like and appreciate good things. So don't forget to like this channel if you have learned something from this method. I have so many other methods in making my pockets. So there are so many things I'm going to teach you in this channel. Kindly subscribe to it and turn on your notification bell. So I'm just going to probably sew it around that way, and here we go. I am done. Bana, this is cool. This is looking so, I can't stop admiring this. I can't stop admiring this. Please, let's call it today at this point. Bye bye. See you in my next video.